Hello, dear learners. We are going to learn the third chapter from the movements. The name of the chapter is Ishwaran the Storyteller. As the chapter itself reveals that it is about a man, Ishwaran, who is very skillful in storytelling art. The story was narrated to Ganesh by a young man, Mahendra by name. Dear student, this is a story about Ishwaran, and this story is narrated by Mahendra. He is telling this story to Ganesh. Mahendra, he was a junior supervisor in a firm which offered on hire supervisors at various types of construction sites, factories, bridges, dam, and so on. Mahendra's job was to keep an eye on the activities at the work site. He had to keep moving from place to place every now and then as offered by his head office, from a coal mining area to a railway bridge construction site. From there, after a few months, to a chemical plant which was coming up somewhere. Dear students, please note down the meaning of supervisor. Supervisor is a person whose job is to check the work of all the other people. Mahendra is narrating this story to Ganesh about Ishwaran and Mahendra's work as a junior supervisor in a company which provided junior supervisors to various construction companies on rent. He got posted at different sites like factories, bridges and dams which were under construction. Mahendra's work was to keep an eye on all the workers at the site. Dear students, as he was supervisor, his work was, as I told you, he had to change places often and worked at various places like a coal mine, railway bridge, construction sites and the construction site of a chemical plant. You can see that he was not staying at a fixed place. He has to move every now and then as his workplace changes. Okay. Now let's move to the second paragraph. He was a bachelor. His needs were simple and he was able to adjust himself to all kinds of odd conditions, where it was an ill-equipped circuit house or a makeshift canvas tent in the middle of a stone quarry. Dear student, bachelor who is unmarried. The word makeshift means temporary and quarry means mining place, mine. He, but one asset he had was his cook Ishwaran. The cook was quite attached to Mahendra and followed him uncomplainingly wherever he was posted. He cooked for Mahendra, washed his clothes, and chatted away with his master at night. He could weave out endless stories and anecdotes on various subjects. Asset means advantage or a precious thing, precious property. Anecdote, a short, amusing, or interesting story about a real incident or person. Okay, let's have the explanation. As Mahendra was unmarried, he did not have a family. He was able to live in these temporary quarters provided at the construction sites. He adjusted well in the circuit houses which did not provide the basic amenities or even the tents which were temporary in nature. Mahendra had an advantage. What was the advantage? The advantage was he was accompanied by his cook Ishwaran. And you know the name of the chapter is Ishwaran the Storyteller. Okay. Ishwaran was very close to Mahendra and accompanied him wherever he go. He did not complain about the tough conditions in which he had to live. He cooked food for him, washed his clothes, and gave him company by talking to him at night, because in the night they had not any other thing that can provide them entertainment. So that is why they both of them were staying together, and they were talking in the night and entertaining themselves. Ishwaran had a quality that he was good at telling stories, and he entertained Mahendra with his stories, which were based on different subjects. Ishwaran also had an amazing capacity to produce vegetables and cooking ingredients seemingly out of nowhere in the middle of a desolate landscape with no shop visible for miles around. He would miraculously conjure up the most delicious dishes made with fresh vegetables with an hour of arriving at the jink sheet shelter at the new workplace. First, take the meaning of the keywords: desolate, uninhabited or empty place. Conjure up, to produce something with magic. Jinn sheet shelter, a temporary place to live with roof made of metallic sheets. So, as we are talking about Ishwaran, the qualities of Ishwaran, Ishwaran was not only a cook or a master storyteller. He was very good at producing delicious food, and Mahendra tells to Ganesh that Ishwaran was very great cook, and whenever they shifted to a new location, he would gather all the vegetables and other ingredients required by him to cook in no time, as they lived at places which was not inhabited by many people, in temporary shelters with roofs made of metallic sheets. It seemed as if he would do some magic and gather all the ingredients out of nowhere, in spite of absence of shops and absence of people around the place where they are staying. But still he would find out some fresh vegetables and other ingredients to cook delicious food. So this was his other quality. Okay. Mahendra would be up early in the morning and leave for work after breakfast, carrying some prepared food with him. Meanwhile, Ishwaran would tidy up the shed, wash the clothes, and have a leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water over his head, muttering a prayer all the while. It would be lunchtime by then. After eating, he would read for a while before dozing off. The book was usually some popular Tamil thriller running to hundreds of pages. Its imaginative descriptions and narrative flourishes would hold Ishwaran in thrall. Let's see the keywords, dear students. Muttering. Muttering means speaking in low voice. Dozing off, falling asleep, little bit sleep. And narrative flourishes, detailed descriptions. Enthrall, the state of being in someone's power. Okay. Mahendra would wake up early in the morning, get ready, and leave for work after eating his breakfast. He would carry his lunch along with him. After he left, Ishwaran would clean their living place, wash Mahendra's clothes, and have a nice bath. He would take many buckets of water and pour water on his head while mumbling a prayer. After that, he would eat his lunch and read his favorite book in Tamil language. Ishwaran would get carried away with the details and descriptions given in the books that he read. Then he would go off to sleep. You can understand, dear students, that they were Ishwaran was reading Tamil books, and actually his stories were inspired from Tamil books that he used to read, and he was very much inspired by these Tamil books, and the detailed description of these Tamil books really captivated his mind and really carried him away to the other world. Now, next paragraph. His own descriptions were greatly influenced by the Tamil authors that he read. I told you that his own stories were really inspired by the Tamil books and the Tamil authors that he used to read. When he was narrating even the smallest of incidents, he would try to work in suspense and a surprise ending into the account. For example, instead of saying that he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say, with eyebrows suitably arched and hand held out in a dramatic gesture, the road was deserted and I was all alone. Suddenly, I spotted something that looked like an enormous bushy beast lying sprawled across the road. I was half inclined to turn and go back, but as I came closer, I saw that it was a fallen tree with its dry branches spread out. Mahendra would stretch himself back in his canvas chair and listen to Ishwaran's tales uncritically. Once again, the keywords: arched, curves, gesture, a movement of hand or forehead to indicate something, deserted, empty, enormous, huge. Explanation of the paragraph. As Ishwaran read his stories with detailed descriptions, he narrated them in the same way. Mahindra recollects that he would narrate even a small incident with a lot of suspense and surprise, which made it very interesting for the listener. Then he gives an example that instead of saying that he was walking down the highway and he came across a tree which had broken and had fallen on the road, Ishwaran would use his facial expressions and bodily gestures to narrate it. He would say that the road was empty and he was all alone. This would create suspense in the listener's mind. Then he would say that all of a sudden he saw that a huge beast was lying across the road. As he walked ahead, his mind was telling him to turn and go back. As he reached closer, he saw that it was a tree that had fallen and was lying on the road. The branches of the tree had spread out and seemed as if it was a huge beast. Mahendra says that this talent of Ishwaran made the simple story very interesting and it captivated him. Although he knew that some of the stories were not true, but the way in which Ishwar narrated them was so interesting that Mahendra would not say anything and listen to him quietly while sitting on his canvas chair, stretching his hands and legs. Now we are moving to the next page, page number 14 of the Moments book, and Ishwaran the Storyteller chapter. The paragraph number is 6 and 7. Okay, we will start again. The place I come from is famous for timber. Ishwaran would begin. There is a richly wooded forest all around. The logs are hauled onto the lorries by elephants. They are huge, well-fed beasts. When they turn wild, Even the most experienced Mahout is not able to control them. After this prologue, Ishwaran would launch into an elaborate anecdote involving an elephant. One day, a tusker escaped from the timber yard and began to roam about, stamping on bushes, tearing up wild creepers, and breaking branches at will. You know, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad? Ishwan would get so caught up in the excitement of his own story that he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in emulation of the mad elephant. Now, students, let's take the meaning of keywords of the paragraph number 6 and 7 of Ishwaran the Storyteller chapter. The first word is timber. Timber means wood. Wood that is used for commercial purposes. The second word is hauled. Hauled means transported, moving things here and there. Prologue. Prologue is an introductory speech or an introduction before telling the story. Elaborate. Elaborate means detailed description. Next word is tusker. Tusker, an animal who has tusk. And which animal used to have tusk? Elephants, right? That's right. The elephant is also called tusker. Stamping. Stamping, putting feet down very heavily and noisily. When you create a thumping sound by putting your feet down on the floor, that is also called stamping. Especially elephant, the animal, big animal like elephant, put its feet heavily on the ground, that is called stamping. Emulation. Emulation, imitation or copying. I think the keywords are clear to you. Now let's move to the explanation of the paragraph. After telling Ishwaran's fallen tree story, Mahendra recollects another story told by Ishwaran. Ishwaran said that his native place was surrounded by a huge forest which was full of trees. The huge logs of timber were sold for commercial purposes. They were transported onto the vehicles by elephants. They were huge elephants, and if they become mad, they would get out of control and the Mahout would not be able to tame them. This introductory session was followed by a detailed story involving an elephant. And now he will tell the story, Tusker's story, in these words. One day an elephant escaped from the timber yard and roamed around the forest. It stepped on the bushes and crushed them, tore the creeper plants and broke branches of trees which came in its way. Ishwaran asked Mahendra whether he knew how a mad elephant behaved, and in order to make his story more effective, more convincing, Ishwaran would stand up and jumped around the place, hitting his foot on the ground in order to copy the action of the mad elephant. So he is a master storyteller and he will use all his techniques to make his story more effective. The elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. He would continue. It came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots, and clothes. People ran helter-skelter in panic. The elephant now entered a school ground where children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. All the boys ran into the classroom and shut the doors tight. The beast grunted and wandered about, pulling out the football goalpost, tearing down the volleyball net, kicking and flattening the drum kept for water, and uprooting the shrubs. Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. From there, they helplessly watched the depredations of the elephant. There was not a soul below on the ground. The streets were empty as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. Now let's take the keywords of the paragraph. Outskirt, outer area, helter skelter, here and there. Panic means sudden fear in anticipation of something bad. Grunting made a loud sound. Depredations, attacks causing destruction. I think the keywords are clear to you. Now let's move to the explanation of the paragraph. As the elephant reached the outer boundary of their town, it broke the fences. The fences seemed as if they were like matchsticks for the huge elephant. The elephant reached the main road and broke all the stalls selling different things like fruits, mud pots, and clothes. The people were taken unaware and so they ran here and there. Then it broke the wall of a school and entered the ground where the students were playing. All the students ran back into their classrooms and closed the doors. The elephants made loud noises and roamed around in the school ground. It broke the goalpost in the football ground, tore the net and had been put up in the volleyball court, stepped on the water drum and broke it, and tore many plants as well. The teachers had climbed onto the roof of the school building and watched helplessly as the elephant destroyed the school property. There was not even a single person to be seen around. All the streets of the town were empty as all the people was scared of the mad elephant.